how exactly is the subconscious mind responsible to make these changes at the core and as a result influence the change in our behavior, belief system, or emotions? I'm just trying to understand, is subconscious mind more powerful than our conscious mind? Why is the change needed at the subconscious level than the conscious level or conscious state of mind?
That's an excellent question. And, there's so little understanding about these different states. I wish they would teach this in school and start children off with mindfulness exercises and just grounding and presence so they have clarity and they're ready to learn. You want to start off by go backwards from subconscious to conscious first to understand that these levels of consciousness have their own jobs to do. Your conscious mind is very important, but it's only doing certain specific things. Where you are right now, you are analytical, you can create strategies, you're logical. Your inner dialogue is in your conscious mind where we're talking to ourselves all day long. Our short-term memory is there, and then all that gets funneled into your long-term. And you make decisions in your conscious mind. That's all we do there. Not to minimize its importance, but specifically that's it. And so the thing is, your inner dialogue, my inner dialogue, everybody's inner dialogue, unless you watch what's going on, you tend to be extremely negative. And you're, like, why can't I do this? Why can't I ever get anything right? I'm such a screw up. Why am I so stupid? And you're not stupid. It's just things that we say. But all of that dialogue is going straight to your subconscious, and your subconscious is going to act on that. It's going to believe everything you tell it is true and act on that. So you have to be very careful and mindful of what you're telling yourself because it becomes who you are. Whether it's negative or positive, it will lead to that outcome, negative or positive, because your subconscious will believe it. And so when you make a decision in your conscious mind, this is where we get into trouble. We'll make a decision, but because this inner dialogue has been giving our subconscious a distorted idea of what we want. Like, for instance, someone who's afraid of public speaking. That's a good example because we're all afraid of public speaking at some level. On a survey about what are the scariest things to people, it always comes out the same. The thing most people are afraid of, public speaking, that's the top one, and then dentists, and then death. You would rather die than go to the dentist or speak in front of somebody. And so I might be the subject matter expert. I might be just the one to give this talk, and it's in my wheelhouse, and I could talk to you and everybody else about it. And then I get into a public arena where I'm supposed to present it, and I freeze. And I don't understand why, I should be able to give this talk. And it's because dialogue goes into your subconscious, like, oh, my boss is going to be there, or all these people have a lot of influence. If they don't like what they may be judging me, they might not like what I say. There's fear of failure, there's judgment, or just not doing a good job. Or I don't like to be in the spotlight. I don't want to. And that your subconscious hears all of that. And your subconscious is always trying to help you. But you just told it that you'd rather die than be in the spotlight or give a talk. And so when you get up to give your talk, the typical things happen where you feel your heart races, you blush, your voice goes up, you're self-conscious, you can't remember anything, you go into a little bit of a panic mode. And that is because your subconscious heard, I'm going to be embarrassed or humiliated or judged. And then your subconscious will kick in your flight or fight response to run away because it will tell you then why do you want to speak? It'll say, don't speak, don't do that. Stay in your safety zone, in your comfortable place. Don't go out there and do that. Why would you want to speak when you're going to be embarrassed in some way? So your subconscious, that's how it gets the idea that you shouldn't do something when it thinks it's helping and it's not. And it came from our thoughts. And so what happens when we make a decision is there's the part of you that says, yes, this is what I want. I can do this. This is great. And you're all motivated. And then the other part of you, like the devil and angel on each shoulder, the other part is saying, no, 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 no. You don't want to do that. You told me you don't want to do that. And now you're having a fight with yourself and a struggle. When you're having a big struggle with something, it's a red flag to check in on what's going on in your subconscious. What have you been telling it? So that's what happens in your conscious mind. Your subconscious mind is a warehouse that holds everything that makes you a person. Your personality traits are there, your creativity, your passions and interests, your every class you ever took, your life experience that you draw on, everything, and all of your memories. All of your memories are there. We all have perfect recall. We just don't experience it because we don't believe it and we block it. There's lots of ways that we block it because we don't believe it's going to happen. But it's there and all those memories can be retrieved. So all of this experience is in your subconscious. Your subconscious is not analytical. It's not strategic or logical. And probably neither are you, because when I say your conscious mind is logical and analytical, yeah, but how often is our logic wrong, where we decide what the answer is and we work backwards to prove that we're right? The opposite of what scientists do, where they have a theory and they go that way to prove the theory or disprove it. We are not logical. You know, a smoker will find all kinds of reasons why it's okay for them to smoke, but other people should quit, but I'm okay. You can't trust this, what's going on in your conscious mind. Your conscious mind doesn't accept suggestions. You tell it you're going to do this, but everything inside of you and all your dialogue is saying no. Your subconscious will always win. It will always win. And your subconscious has its emotion and feeling. And it will be your subconscious has memorized the emotions that are connected with your thoughts too. That's why we feel our stress somewhere in our bodies, whether you've noticed it or not. A lot of people are oblivious to that, but when you talk about it, then they realize it's true. That everything that happens to you comes from a thought. Your thought immediately connects with an emotional response, and what you're thinking about and feeling emotionally connects instantly with a physical response. So I don't want to be in the spotlight. I'm going to be judged. So my emotion is fear and dread. And my physical response is run away and hide. Just run as fast as you can in the other direction is what happens. Or somebody with a broken heart will say, where have you been feeling when you're thinking about this and feeling that? Where do you feel in your body? And they'll say in their heart. They'll say it feels tight, or it feels like an elephant sitting on my chest. They've got a broken heart. And someone who's been raped or miscarried or something like that will feel it down in their genitals. It's amazing how accurate it will be, but we're holding our emotions somewhere because your subconscious has memorized all of these horrible things. And so when we are making a change, we want to dissociate the feelings about something, dissociate public speaking from being judged or failure, create a new association where I'm empowered. It's who I am. It's in my wheelhouse. It's what I do. It's okay. Neuroscientists say what fires together wires together. Like popcorn and movies become a thing, or smoking and drinking has to go together. We create these associations ourselves. And in hypnosis, using the right techniques, you break those associations and create the new associations that you want. And that becomes who you are. And the magic thing about this, because it's very scientific and it's not magic, and there are lots of studies to prove what's going on, but we feel like it's magical because you can have what you feel is a miraculous turnaround you can have very quickly. And what's really happening is that your subconscious cannot tell the difference between what you imagine and what's real. That's the key takeaway for anybody listening. Because we all do it to ourselves. When you imagine the worst case scenario, there's something coming up and you start to imagine all the ways it can go wrong, all the things that might happen, and you get into your head with what if this, what if that, and oh my God, those are the stress-producing thoughts. And you're imagining what could go wrong, but your subconscious can't tell that that's not reality, so it thinks it's already happening. That's why we can make ourselves really, really and get into a panic because we heard a loud noise and we assume somebody broke into the house. and there's no danger, but we can get ourselves all ramped up into a real state of fear. And we can make ourselves sad or happy. We can control our states just by thinking about them.
That is so phenomenal. I mean, clearly, based on what I've heard, hypnotherapy can cure a lot of, extreme painful situations from our past life to heal at the subconscious level. And I think what really intrigued me personally is when you talked about it all starts with the thoughts that we have. And I talk about this a lot with my friends and my family, that I was not aware about this. The thoughts that I'm thinking is keeping me in this stuck loop of wanting to become better, wanting to think positive. But then, just like you said, perhaps I was thinking consciously, okay, I'm going to start thinking positive. I'm going to create best scenario that's going to happen out of this event that I want. Let's say I'm going for a job interview. I want to make sure that I'm thinking about the best case scenario. But naturally, I'm thinking about the worst case scenario. What if I get rejected? What if they don't like me? Or what if I don't like the team?
Yeah.
What if the pay is not good enough? What if the salary is not that competitive? So I think naturally I've sort of conditioned, or there's a pattern that I constantly think about the worst case scenario that makes me feel better, because in real, let's say if I don't get the job, I feel less bad because I've already thought about all the possible worst case scenarios. And I struggled a lot with the negative thinking. So until one time I became very intentional, I'm just exhausted. I'm tired. I'm not a bad person. I'm not a pessimist. But why do I keep thinking negative thoughts, although I appear to be a happy, confident person? So that's when I really got intrigued or interested in the concept of subconscious mind and how to really make change at that level. So I think when you brought the topic of, the thoughts and then the feelings, attaching of emotions, those are the key drivers in making a change, especially if you want to switch your negative self-talk to a positive or empowering thoughts, right? What I want to know is, how does hypnotherapy help someone make that, let's say someone's suffering from a negative self-talk, a very pessimistic personality. What exactly happens when they go through a hypnotherapy? How are they able to rewire their brain to think positively? And let's start there. What exactly happens in the process of hypnotherapy?
Well, society has taught us to live in a constant state of overwhelm and fear. It's a really fear-driven society. And of course, a lot of horrible things do happen. But all of our news cycles and everything we watch are generating fear, because that's how they get their ratings. And so we get into an emotional and mental paralysis. And so we have to break free of that. And with negative thinking, when you talked about trying to think more positively, it's not, you don't want to be a Pollyanna positive thinker, like everything, telling yourself everything is fine when it's not. You want to acknowledge, this is where I am. This is what's happening in my life, and it's okay. It's wherever you are, it's okay. It's where you're supposed to be right now. Someday you'll understand why you were there, maybe not now, but it's okay. You accept what is, and then you change your way of thinking. And it's not to pretend everything is great, but a way of speaking to yourself so that you're moving forward instead of in fear, because what you think about is what you will get. What you focus on is what you will bring into your life. If you're worried about not having enough money and lack, you're going to get more lack. It's less money. You're going to manifest what you're focused on. But a simple way of flipping your self-talk, a simple example, is a guy who felt like, was telling himself, that all these horrible things are happening to me all the time. And he was aware of what he was doing to himself. He understood these principles already. And he said, one of the suggestions I want you to give me in hypnosis is, good things happen to me every day. Oh. Good things happen to me every day. And then when you say that, then you begin to notice, instead of noticing the bad things, you notice how many good things they are. It's like when you practice gratitude, which is so important, however you do it, a gratitude journal or in practice. I used to walk to my office when it was downtown. This is a home office now. And I used to walk downtown to the Flood Building, and I'd be practicing gratitude all the way down. Thank you for the sun shining. Thank you for this beautiful city and for this and that. And when you start to practice gratitude and remind yourself of the things that make you smile or that are good in your life, all of a sudden you start to think of more. They start pouring into your head and you realize things aren't as bad as you thought they were. You were telling yourself they were awful, but it's like there are all these good things too. And we have tunnel vision. And then with our thoughts, we only see a problem this way and we don't see all the other possibilities and we don't see what's good. And if you were to Google how does gratitude rewire my mind, my brain, you'll get tons of studies and statistics that show that when you practice gratitude on a regular basis, that it rewires your brain in many positive ways. When you say, why am I saying these things to myself? We're hardwired to be negative. It's our ancient survival system was to look around corners for what's going to be around that corner, what animal's going to eat me, or it was a survival technique. And now a brain anatomist, thinking of one in particular, I can back up everything I'm saying from people I've talked to. There's a brain anatomist, Jill Bolt Taylor, who wrote in her book that the part of your brain for negative thinking is like big. And the part for positive thinking is like that big. That's a very scientific explanation, isn't it? This big and that big. I don't remember the numbers, but that was what it amounted to. And that when you practice gratitude and when you pay attention to the good things, then you expand that ability to be positive. It grows in your brain. So what we're doing is opening people up to what's possible, helping them to understand, helping them to see in a state of clarity all the limitless possibilities, all of the paths they can take, all the things they can do that they never thought of before, that things are never as bad as they seem is what it boils down to.